On Friday, in response to this board report, a group of parents rallied near the build in Parry Sound, calling on the school board to provide more accountability and transparency and to express their frustration over having their children's education upheaved. Amy Black, who's one of the organizers of this group of parents, says this frustration with the school board is not new.
Parents are frustrated with the lack of communication, first of all. It was clear to us before school was over last year that school would not be ready. So our biggest issue right now is the safety of the environment of the return to school.
Safety that she feels is something to be worried about, as one of the schools kids will be returning to has already had a good chunk of the building torn down.
So the 7 and 8s are being sent to Nobel Public School, which was closed at the end of June. It wasn't deemed a safe building to maintain going forward, but it's okay to send our 7 and 8s there. So we are asking for a structural engineer, fire marshal, everybody to check that building, air quality, all the proper cleaning that happens over the summer has not been done. There's like 2 weeks left of school or left of summer, so we'd like to see that done. And then all the 9 to 12s are supposed to go back into a currently partially demolished building. So 60% of the school remains intact. We are asking for a structural engineer to check out that place. Asbestos testing, like has any of that been disturbed? HVAC systems, yes, the PA system works, the fire system works, the toilets are flushable, but is the water potable? There's a whole bunch of unanswered questions, and our concern and our priority is the safety of our children and the return to school for staff and students.
So where does that accountability fall? A recent response from the Minister of Education, Paul Calandra, seems to put that responsibility on both the school board as well as its board of trustees. However, I spoke with Near North District School Board of Trustees Chair Ashley St. Pierre, who told me they were just as much kept in the dark about this progress of the build by the board administration as anyone else.
So, July 8th, I had a meeting with the First Nations because I sit as not only as the chair of the board, I sit as the Indigenous trustee. And there was some different concerns that I had myself when I went through a tour of the build in May, just the Indigenous classroom. So I had as Indigenous trustee, and also my full-time job is the education director for Moose Deer Point First Nation. We got a meeting set up. So July 8th, we had a meeting with the project manager, Marianne Spears, superintendent, Gay Smiley. So she is the superintendent of Parry Sound High School. And then we had Melanie Gray, who's the superintendent of Indigenous education. And Marianne Spears, the project manager, had told us at that meeting that the school would be open for September 8th. And then 2 weeks later, I got an email of a letter from Minister Calandra saying that there was going to be delays. He knew that there was delays and the project wasn't on time and it wouldn't open. The school would not be opening on time. And I was shocked because 2 weeks before that, I was told that it was going to be open. There was no delay. It was on track. So to go from 2 weeks of saying it's on track to, here we are getting an email from the minister saying it was delayed and that was mismanagement on trustees' part. I was kind of it was like, well, that's not what I was told. So I don't think it's necessarily mismanagement on a trustee level when we're kind of in the dark about what was going on.
Tomorrow morning, the board will be holding another meeting with the Parry Sound School on the agenda, and St. Pierre says she has a few questions for the administration.
Well, for one, why weren't we told early on that this was delayed? And who's responsible for not making sure that was not put out to trustees? Because, like, regardless of that being an operational thing or not, that's a big thing because trustees need to know if there's, like the financial repercussions of that, because it's going to cost more money because you're keeping it open longer or having people on staff longer, like construction companies and stuff like that. And those are pieces that trustees need to know, not just, the operational pieces to that. It's a financial piece and we need to know about it. So I think that's the biggest question is, who's responsible for not making sure that we knew that it was going to take longer.
Meanwhile, Black says there's a lot of finger pointing happening, but not a lot of solutions coming forward.
I feel right now everybody's playing the blame game and they're passing the blame. So the ministry blames the board blames the ministry's blaming the trustees. We have had trustees standing behind us with this whole process. So we do have some of the trustees on our side, and right now the responsibility and the accountability lies with the administration.